Alright guys, so I just picked this up. If I can get it out of its box. It's a more powerful version. Pretty much my CPU. It's the plus 2 generations than mine. I'm trying to get a clear shot on that, please. I'm going to manual focus. You can't really see it, but anyway, I don't even know. What is it? Oh, it's a 6376 processor. And right now I have the 6172s, which is the original so as you can see I have, 12 cores, and this is 16 cores, but it's also based off the Bulldozer, so it's not a true, it does have 16 cores, but it's really 8 cores, but it will still perform better than this, because of the higher clock speed. Now the reason why I wanted to upgrade is because that clock speed's a little bit more important to me than having the stronger cores, because I'm getting back into games again. This isn't really a editing computer that much anymore, but 16 cores will still cover that. Well, anyway, so this CPU I picked up for 20 bucks. This CPU is actually not going to be the one going in my computer, because I just scored the one that I actually wanted, which is the 6386 SE, which is the highest end CPU you can possibly put in the G34 socket. Base clock's 2.8. Turbo clock is 3.2 on all cores, or 3.3 on all cores, and half load I think is 3.5. So that's pretty insane. I might even still have it up on my phone here. Let me see why that's loading. Oh, this does have turbo, so maybe Windows 7 doesn't show turbo, but I can pull it up in this. So right now these are kind of butt for running whatever. So I think my max over here is 2100. That's what it should be running at. Those are just something goofy going on, but 2100 is the highest that this is run at. I usually have it in high performance mode so it doesn't idle down to 800 megahertz, but I've been using a little bit too much power. I don't like pulling 150 watts from the wall at all times. So, and then for my original build, I had to go down in memory, so I only have 20 gigs in here. I say only, like it's not a lot, but I only have 20 gigs in here right now. I usually run 32, but 2 of my RAM sticks are unstable for some reason, so eventually I'm just going to be replacing those 2 RAM sticks. I got to figure out what 2 it is. Apparently it's not the other 4 gigabyte one that I have in there now, but I will have to be replacing that, and then I want to make the conversion up to 256 gigs. Let's close out of that, which should bring my RAM down. As you can see, I'm going down to, 3.5. Oh my god, Jesus. And then I also want to make the switch to SSDs in this computer. Probably do a RAID 1 on the SSDs. I like my RAID 1 because I kind of look at it like a backup, but I know you're not really supposed to. Well, anyway, here we are. Jesus. And let's see what this computer runs. It's actually not that bad of a CPU store. Here, I click out of everything for you guys besides my stuff over there. And we're going to load it up. Okay, and we are going up to 2100, yes. Everything's loaded up over there, as you can see, 100%. I think it's like 1001. Oh, I only have half the CPUs in here though, because I'm not running 2 CPUs anymore. Let me tell you guys, games don't know how to use 2 CPUs, so it was just a nightmare. So all my bench testing that I did years ago is like invalid because I was using 2 CPUs, and so I mean it's valid if you use 2 CPUs, but games just don't know how to use 2 CPUs because it wants to keep switching back and forth. Now I guess I can set it in CPU priority, but I didn't know that at the time. It wasn't until Threadripper was released and people were having issues with gaming that I found out about the different nodes. Okay, so we got 614 on this, which is kind of low, but that's only one processor. What did I want to say? Oh, usually I get like 1200, as you can see, but since that's only one processor, that's okay. We're going to see what the 16 core can do. I know it's going to do better, but is it going to do... Let's see. That's 12 cores, so that's like 50 per core. Or we're going to see more than 50 per core on this, 50 points I'm talking about. So, let me go install that, and we can see what we can achieve. Alright, so when I run this test, you guys won't be impressed with the numbers, because it's not all going to be about the numbers. So I will explain a little bit after I show you the clock. So we were at 2600. I did pull up the specs on my phone. As we can see here, the 6386 SE is the one that I'm going to get, which is 3.2 boost. And the one that we have right now is 6376 and a 2.6 boost. So that should give me a nice better number. But let me just run this and we can see what we pull now. So we're going to see all core. Oh, I got on single core. Because that's what I wanted to mention, is that single core is not as good with this, which is what I was expecting. I knew it wasn't going to be as good. I knew these eight cores or whatever weren't going to perform, or 16 cores weren't going to perform like 16 cores. I knew it was going to be more like 8. And it even labels it up here, 8 cores, 16 threads. Just the way they advertise it makes it seem like it's 16 cores, but it's not. But if you look at it as an 8 core, 16 thread, you're actually happy with it. But for the price that they were trying to get for it, it is not a true 16 core, like I was saying. So we got all 100% over here. I did throw 4 more gigs of RAM in it because, like I said, I'm trying to limit the RAM down to 2 sticks. So if it doesn't get unstable, which is basically blue screen with this RAM, that means the other 2 sticks are bad. So that lets me eliminate them. And we're starting to thermal throttle, just a tad at the end there. Okay, 736 right here. So that's only, what is that, a little over 115 points? 117 points to be exact. My bad, not 117. Yeah, 117 points. From the other CPUs. So it is worth it to me to upgrade because I don't want to have to upgrade to Ryzen this year. I might wait for Ryzen 4 to upgrade my computer. But anyway, this isn't all about numbers here. My computer just runs so much better. Pandora, I guess there's a codec on the newer architecture that wasn't supporting the old one, because I remember not being able to play the World War II beta because I didn't have some kind of codec on my CPU. So anyway, whatever codecs are on this CPU, which is pile driver, I thought it was bolt over, but this is the pile driver version. Whatever codec that has pile driver rather than the K10 series is definitely being used today and is definitely noticeable, because let me tell you, all my games started playing so much smoother. World at War, I couldn't do extra settings or anything on it, because literally I would have 30% on my GPU, and then that would be, you know, it wouldn't be max because it couldn't utilize all 12 cores, but it would be like 50%. So I knew it was a CPU bottleneck, but I just kind of put up with it. And it doesn't have to do with the clock speed either. It has to do with the codec on the CPU, because now I can pretty much get my, this is World at War right now, 98% and then 95% on the RAM. I was pretty much all maxed out on World War II with getting 50s, low 60s, depending on where I'm at. If I'm in the open part of the map, that's what I'm getting. If I'm in a closed spot, like a room or something, I can get over 100 on it, which wasn't possible before. And all my other games just run so much smoother now, which might be time to move to Windows 10, because I think Windows 10 supports this Bulldozer series a little bit better without the, well, I don't know if the server has the sleeping cores. Well, anyway, even though this points doesn't reflect what I'm saying right now, it's not all about benchmarks. I just wanted to see how much more I could push, and it was a simple benchmark that I didn't have to make a whole... Didn't have to spend like 2 hours doing benchmarks and whatnot. It was just a simple thing. And even if I did benchmarks, it would still show FPS fine. It wasn't the FPS that I was having issues with. It was the game stuttering. Like, I didn't know exactly what it was. Some of my live streams, you might see it too, where the game would stutter, but I have 90 FPS. And I think that has to do with codecs or whatever else is implementing in this CPU that is not in the other. So anyway, after all that being said, when I do upgrade to the top of the line that you can buy for the G34 socket, it only cost me $50 to upgrade, so it's really not that bad. And like I said, I will be making the switch to Verizon one of these days. I just wanted to be able to get maybe a year or two left out on my computer, so we see how that goes.